You're only as good as your last fight, and for these 6 UFC superstars, their last fight or two simply wasn't good enough. And though many of these athletes are in different stages of their career, a recent dip in form has certainly taken some of the wind out of their sails. With that in mind, we're going to look at 6 UFC fighters who are in desperate need of a win. Cody Garbrandt. To kick things off, we have the former UFC bantamweight champion of the world, a man who has somehow gone 1-5 since his masterful title-capturing performance against the legendary Dominick Reyes in 2017. At 30 years old, Cody Garbrandt should be coming into his physical prime. Instead, he has gone on the type of run that you'd expect from an athlete 10 years his senior. The elusive, composed, and finesse-heavy approach he used against Dominick Reyes has been all but replaced by a hot-headedness, an over-eagerness, a cocktail of problems that, when coupled with his suspect defense and overall ability to take a shot, has led Garbrandt to being finished 4 times in his last 6. Sure, the Rafael Assunção knockout was pretty sweet, and some might say it was vintage Cody, but with a return to the 135-pound division after an ill-fated trip down to flyweight, scheduled for July, it's pretty fair to say that Cody Garbrandt is in a real do-or-die situation. Conor McGregor. Out of all of the fighters under the UFC banner, it could well be said that no one can generate as much upside with one single win as Conor McGregor could. Though still as unavoidable a figure as any, the fact that Conor has fought just 4 times in the last 6 years is certainly a cause for concern amongst his fans. When you couple that with his record of 1-3 in that time, with his only victory coming against an aging Donald Cerrone, the full story is really hammered home. It's not that Conor has looked especially awful during his 3 losses, but he just looks somewhat flat, not the same intimidating force of nature that he once was. And when you come up against the best of the best at 155 pounds, the Khabibs and the Poiriers of the world, that just isn't going to be enough. So with an eye on his imminent return to competition, though he does have an uphill climb ahead of him, his next matchup is certainly absolutely crucial. Jorge Masvidal. The resurrection appears to be over, folks, or at least that's how things are looking based on the recent form of Jorge Masvidal. 3 straight losses against the 2 best welterweights on the planet have effectively brought Masvidal's title push to a halt. Now, the first defeat to Kamaru Usman on short notice, and the loss to Colby Covington in his most recent outing, were not career killers by any means, but when you consider that they were the bread in a sandwich that contained within it a KO of the year loss to Usman in the rematch, that's where things begin to get a bit dicey for Jorge. At his age, another resurgence seems pretty unlikely, and though few would disagree with the fact that Masvidal is still an excellent fighter, if he is hoping to secure anything resembling a big money fight, getting himself back on track next time around is paramount. On a quick side note, if you're enjoying this content and would like to stay up to date with all of our weekly uploads, subscribe to the channel now to ensure that MMA Dive continues to find crucial W's as we head into what looks set to be a majorly interesting summer for the sport of mixed martial arts. We also have a Patreon account, so if you want help in supporting the channel, you can find the link in the description. Dan Hooker. It's hard not to feel for Dan Hooker. The dude has been fighting the best of the best for years now, keeping a packed schedule while generally delivering some real action when he gets the right dance partner. However, after his fight of the year contender clash against Dustin Poirier, things did begin to start to unravel for the Hangman. Of course, he lost that fight with the Diamond, pushing his opponent to the brink, but taking on quite a lot of damage in the process. Jump forward to his next outing, where he got starched by the debuting Michael Chandler, and things began to get worrying. Though an impressive victory over Nasrat Haqparast would follow, back-to-back finish defeats to both Islam Makhachev and Arnold Allen down at featherweight really set Hooker down the wrong path. Thankfully though, he seems to be eyeing a return to lightweight, but all in all, there really does need to be something of a spark in his progression before he finds himself in an even trickier spot. Dominick Reyes. The decline of Dominick Reyes is truly an odd one. After rising to the top of his division, this 205-pound standout gave John Jones perhaps the toughest and closest fight of his career, doing more than enough in some people's eyes to earn the victory. However, as we all know, the decision went the way of the champion, and from there a downturn in form occurred that really left most of Dominick Reyes' fans totally shocked. Back-to-back knockout defeats at the hands of both Jan Blachowicz and Yuri Prochazka left our faith in his chin in a strange place. And look, those shots that he got caught with were excellent, of course, but when you go from hotshot contender to 0-3 in your last 3 with 2 vicious knockout defeats, it really does go a long way in dampening whatever hype you may have gathered. Dominick Reyes is by no means finished in his pursuit of light heavyweight gold. In fact, he's still among the younger members of the top 10 at 32, but all in all, after about a year out of action, one would hope that he has managed to recenter himself, something that will allow him to make the necessary changes in order to advance, and ultimately fulfill his clear potential. Tony Ferguson. And finally, we come to the real heartbreaker of the group. The one that I will admit has been by far and away the toughest to watch. Tony Ferguson is a fighter's fighter. He's a fan's fighter. The type of athlete who just embodies all that we love about the sport. He's daring, he's creative, he's unusually violent in there, consistently violent. And he's just an all-round eccentric individual. But seeing him lose 4 in a row, getting finished by Justin Gaethje, somehow surviving against Charles Oliveira, getting dominated by Beneil Dariush, and then I don't even want to talk about what Michael Chandler just did to him. It has been an incredibly difficult time for Tony Ferguson, and though there have been some calls for his retirement, some fans still do believe that he just got caught with an immaculately placed technique and that in that first round, he had shown something in his performance that he didn't have to any extent against Dariush or the champion Oliveira. Either way, it is clear that El Cucui's back is against the wall, and I think I can speak for most of us when I say that a major step down in competition is warranted, leaving this next matchup as an incredibly crucial one. But of all of the names that I've mentioned, who do you think is the most and least likely to get themselves back on track? Do let us know your opinions in the comment section below. We always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment before subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Thank you for watching.